All right, so I am decked out in my old man farmer straw hat I got at Tractor Supply. Because at this age, looks are not important to me anymore. So I'm gonna work on bucket drills. I'm gonna show you kind of what it is, what it's for, how to do it, some tricks, benefits it can give you in training your dog to search, go, to mark a bird if there's one that fell, they didn't see it. If you need to send them on a blind search or, something like that. So, and also getting them to go across the water or go farther out in a field. Maybe they're not searching, a big enough area. So, switch the camera around and here we go. So with bucket drills, get some white 5-gallon buckets. You can get these at Tractor Supply or Lowe's or anywhere, like $3 or something. They're not expensive. And the reason for white is because they stand out against the background. Dogs cannot see bright colors like orange and red, but blue and yellow, gray, white, black, they can see contrast, and then just a few shades of those other colors I mentioned. So I'm going to set this white bucket just right here. It's got a nice green background for contrast, and I'm going to set a bumper right next to it. Depending on how your dog's doing with retrieving, and they need to be force fetched or at least in the process for this to really do anything, but you can let them watch you put the bumper there, or favorite toy, whatever you're using, something that they're excited to retrieve. You want them to enjoy what they're doing. Otherwise it's going to end up just being a chore. And the dogs, they have such intelligence that they can really get bored with stuff, and especially this. So keep it interesting for them, make it exciting, and one thing to keep in mind is don't overdo it. The idea, and this applies to anything with training, is that the more you do it, the better they'll get. Well, there is some truth to that, and it definitely applies in a lot of areas and a lot of different concepts, but there are times that doing it too much can really wear them out, and they get bored with it, and they just won't want to do it because they're always under pressure. And if they're always under pressure, they're not going to enjoy their time in the field with you, and we don't want to lose that, because you can have a dog that's a robot out there and they do everything right, but I'd rather have a dog that does a couple of things wrong and they're enjoying every minute of it. So to me, it's about the dogs. It's not about being a robot. And if we turn our dogs into a robot, we've done a disservice to them. So there's a bucket, there's a bumper. I have not let Achilles watch me put this out here, so this is going to be a trial run. So I'm going to go get him and probably start him, 20 yards, 30 yards, and I'm just going to send him on a search and see what he does. This is his first bucket drill. And then after that, I'll kind of talk about, the process of bucket drills and, the different steps and how to bring that into other areas. So I've got Achilles. I'm going to go ahead and just show him the bumper by this bucket. I think he might actually would do okay, because I've been doing casting and retrieving drills with him already. But, good boy. Good boy. Come on, good boy. But just so he gets the concept of the bucket, I'm going to show him the bumper. So, all right, so he's seen it. I'm going to step back 20 yards or so. And he's been force fetched. We had a little bit of a trouble with a duck yesterday, but cleaned it up, and he did fine after a little while. So, all right, so I'm going to send him, and what I'm going to do, good boy, I'm going to set the phone down just for a minute so I can do this, but I'm basically, maybe I can step on his lead, maybe I can do it. Good boy. Hang on, Achilles. So I'm just kind of putting my hand at a, like a over his head, pointing to the bucket. Achilles, mark, mark. And always tap his ear for the command. Fetch! Let's see what he does. Good boy! Good boy! Here, Achilles! Now he's being a little turd. Come here, boy, here! Good boy! Good boy! Atta boy, come here. Good boy, Achilles. Good boy. Hold, hold. Sit. Good, good. I'm gonna get a treat. I'm gonna trade it out. Drop. Good boy. Normally I would use 2 hands for this. I would always make it a habit so there's no confusion with them, and if you hear something wrong, I always tap the top of his nose. This is just me, but I'll tap the top of his nose. Sit. And then I'll take it from him. I don't want it dropping on the ground, but I'll take it from him. But holding the phone and filming, it's a little more challenging. So, but here's my drill. Drop, and then I'll tap him with one hand, take it with the other. But I've always got a reward for him. Good boy, good boy. Hold, hold, hold. Drop. Good boy. So yeah, so dropping it on the ground is not part of the drill, but just for the sake of holding the phone so I can film it, that's what we're doing today. Good boy, Achilles. Good boy. All right, good boy. Here. Come here. He wants that bumper. You can hear him hollering. So what I'm gonna do now, because he did this just fine, if he hadn't, I would probably have brought him, you know, really close to it where he could see it, and then sent him to fetch it, and done that, you know, 3 times or so, and maybe a couple of days in a row. But since he saw it, or since he performed it well, what I'm actually going to do now is set the bumper not right next to it, but just a little ways away from it. He's going to have to search for it. And he's already had practice searching for bumpers on the other side of the water, so this is something that hopefully he'll do on land. I haven't done land drills with him yet, but you know, it's pretty close. So if he comes over here, hopefully he'll see it. And the whole idea here is you get them to go out to a certain distance. You start the bumpers close, and after they do well, then you start moving them farther away, and then you can start doing 2 buckets, and you put the bumpers, you know, semi-close to the 2 buckets, and then you start, you know, gradually moving the bumpers farther away, and eventually, when they get used to going out, you can, well, you'll start increasing the distance. You can put multiple buckets. You can put multiple buckets with bumpers only by some of them. You know, you can make it complicated as they start learning the process. So put you 3 buckets, 5 buckets, 10 buckets at different distances. Put bumpers near some of the buckets, not all the buckets. Put bumpers just kind of in between the buckets. There's a lot of different ways that people do these bucket drills. I just try to keep it simple so they get the concept, and I start moving the bumpers away, and then you know, and then I'll start working on farther distance. I've never used more than about 3 buckets for this myself. A lot of times if you just do 1, they get the idea, but it just depends on the dog. So, you know, I'll adjust it to the dog as I need to. He's over there waiting. He loves his bumpers. And then in the water, you'll end up doing the same thing. Put a bucket, put a bumper, and you'll do it across a narrow channel, a narrow tank, but you don't want them running the bank. You want them to swim across. So a creek or, you know, anything like that is fine, that they go across the water to the bucket, put the bumper next to it. You basically start the drills all over except in the water. And then you start moving the bumper farther away, and then farther away. And eventually you'll take away the bucket, or, you know, 2 or 3 buckets, however many you have. And you'll put, you know, 5 or 10 bumpers across that bank, the opposite bank, in different spots, or in the cover in the water on the opposite side, whatever you have to hide them in so the dog doesn't see them, because you don't want them to go off of visuals. These buckets are just getting them used to going out and searching, It's not to create a visual, although that can happen, but that's why you start moving the bumpers, so that they don't rely only on the visual. So the visual becomes more of a secondary thing at that point, because they have to start searching for the bumpers. Gina retrieved a bucket one time, but 9 times out of 10, they're gonna go ahead and just look for the bumpers. So, and then you can even do it with dead ducks or rabbits or something too, or quail, whatever you're working with. But bumpers are usually the best way to go, especially with a young dog, so that they don't start eating game. So I'm gonna get Achilles here and see how he does searching for that. I don't know what distance we are now, probably 30, 40 yards. So, all right, Achilles. Hang on, buddy. Hang on. And normally I would not leave the leash on. I would not have all this stuff on him, except that I can't really effectively handle him since my hands are injured right now. So I've got extra controls on him. Never let the dog swim with extra collars, choke chains, leashes, anything like that. They get tangled up, they'll drown in the water. So just a word of caution while I'm thinking about it. And something else I want to point out, if the dog drops it halfway back, if they're in the process of learning, that's okay. Don't get on to them. Don't praise them for, making a mistake. Praise them for what they did right. Praise them for going out and searching and getting it. If they bring it to your feet and drop it, and it's something that they're still learning, praise them up. You don't have to, you don't have to praise them if they screw up. You don't have to, get on to them if they screw up. Once they know the task, and beyond a shadow of a doubt, you know that they know what they're doing, and then they just start defying you, okay, you can get on to them. But praise them for what they're doing right, and be patient with what they're doing wrong. This is a learning thing, and you want them to have fun. And he's still excited. All right, Achilles. All right. I'm going to just step on his lead so I can, point him in the direction. Hey, buddy. All right, look. Achilles. Here. Mark, Achilles. Here. Achilles. Mark. Good boy. Wait. Oh. Mark. Find it. That mother foot on his lead. Achilles. Find it. Good boy. That was my mistake. I didn't realize my other foot was on his lead. So he went to the bucket. Boom. Good boy. Here, Achilles. Good boy. Good. He's still searching. He's got such a desire to search, and that's one thing I really love about this dog. He will grab 3 bumpers if they're out there. And this is just a young dog learning. I'm not really getting on to him this. I'm just going to encourage him to come back. Here, Achilles, come on, buddy. Here, boy. That's a good boy. Here, good boy. Here. So he went back to the bucket again. Good dog. Come here. He's going to do his parade. Come here. Good boy. Sit. Hold, Achilles. Come here. Wants to sit in the shade. Achilles. Fetch. Come here. Here, buddy. Sit. Good boy. Atta boy. Drop. Hey. And again, if I wasn't filming, I'd have 2 hands free. But I typically don't let him just drop it like that. Achilles, you're a good boy. There you go. There's your reward. Good dog. Here, Achilles. I didn't see it. Here, Achilles. Here. Sit. Hold, Achilles. Hold. Drop. Good boy. What a good boy. Good boy. Here, drop. Atta boy. Thank you. All right. I'm not going to let him see me drop this. I'm going to drop it kind of in front of me because he's looking my way. I'm just going to kind of inconspicuously set it down over here in front of me where he doesn't see me drop it. Now I'm gonna just kind of walk around. I'm gonna fool him. I'm gonna come over here behind the bucket and kind of bend over, act like I'm putting something in the grass. Because I don't want him to rely on visuals. I'm gonna rock in the bucket to keep the wind from knocking it down. Walk around a little bit. Because he's got a good search. So I'm just gonna add a little challenge to it. And I'm doing a whole lot real fast today because I've been working with it. But for you guys who have not started these drills yet, keep it simple. Do one bucket, one bumper, short distance. Let the dog see you put the bumper out there so they know there's something to go get. Always reward them with a treat. Praise them for what they do right. If they don't complete the task, again, praise them for what they did right. Don't get onto them for what they did wrong. It just reveals something you need to work on. It's not about correcting these dogs in a negative fashion until they get to the point of rebellion. Good boy, Achilles. He's hot, but he will do this drill. Hey, buddy. Good boy. Good boy, Achilles. Hey, you wanna go fetch? You wanna go fetch? Oh, it's a good boy. So even with force fetch, yeah, there's pressure, but this dog eats it up. All right, hang on, buddy. Hang on. All right, so we're not. Come here, buddy. Here. All right, good boy. Here, come here. Achilles, come here. Here, buddy. Here. Come here. Achilles, come here. I haven't taught him heel yet, so. All right, Achilles, hang on, buddy. Come here. Good boy. Here. Sit. Sit, Achilles. Good. Put them in a sit position. They can focus better. All right. Mark. Find it. So he's going where he last saw me. Now he's expanding his search. Good boy. Normally I wouldn't praise them when they're going the opposite direction, but this is basics I'm training him on. Good boy. Here, Achilles, here. Just coax him to come here. I've got a dead snake buried over there, so he went and smelled it. Achilles, here. He's looking for more bumpers. Ah! At this point, I'm just encouraging him. I'm not getting on to him. You know, I might give him that negative. Just to let him know, hey, I need your attention over here. Good. And a lot of times they'll pee. It's kind of it's almost a dominance thing that, hey, I got this prize. This is mine. Good boy, here. Achilles, come here. Good boy. Sit. Hold. Achilles, come here. He's hot. I'll put him up after this. Achilles, come here. Fetch. Good boy, come on. Sit. Hold, Achilles. Hold. Drop. Atta boy, what a good boy. I'm taking it easy on him. You know, we're still learning, and it's hot, and you know, my hands are bandaged up, you know, and I'm holding the camera. So there's a lot going on here. You're a good dog, Achilles. You're a good dog. So, and normally what I will do, add a quick force fetch lesson in here, favoring that foot a little, is I will, when he's got something in his mouth, here, Achilles, sit, fetch. Hold is all, when I do hold, I'll hold, kind of underneath his mouth when he's chewing on it. Hold. Sometimes I'll take both hands and I'll hold it. If he's chewing on it, hold, and I'll just hold his mouth till he holds it and stops chewing. See, this is loose. Hold. He knows to hold. Good boy. Like when you're force fetching, I'm just going to add this in here. If he's dropping it because he's not holding it securely, you can knock it out of his hand. Have another finger in his ear ready to pinch his ear if it falls out of his mouth. Hold. Yeah, he knows better. But anyway, that's another video for another day, but just a little tip. So anyway, you're a good boy. Here, sit, hold, good boy, good boy. Ah, fetch. Drop. Atta boy. Good dog, Achilles, good boy. So that's the basics of bucket drills. Like I said, eventually you'll take the bucket away. You'll start doing farther distances. You'll put the bumpers farther out, and really using one bucket if they get the concept and they're doing their searches left and right, out, in. You know, if they're searching well, you really don't have to use multiple buckets, but sometimes it helps if you have, you know, 3 buckets or 4 or 5 buckets for a dog that's having trouble getting out there actually searching after they learn the concept of the bucket drill. So, you know, it's just something to keep in mind. You cater these lessons to the dog. And in the water, I'll probably, you know, end up putting 3 buckets. But I'll be doing these drills with him here, and we'll see how he does. And then, like I said, we'll take it to the water. He'll end up doing, you know, 1 bucket, 1 bumper close by. I'll start moving the bumper farther away. We'll see how well he searches in the water. If he searches well, you know, I won't need extra buckets. But if he doesn't, I'll probably put 2 or 3 buckets spread out to get him going left and right. And, you know, and I'll still have the bumper next to the bucket. And then I'll start taking the bumpers and moving them farther away from the bucket. And then we'll transfer to doing ducks and or bumpers without buckets. And then we'll transfer to doing, you know, put 4 or 5 ducks across the bank after he learns to go across and after he learns to search. So the buckets just give you a visual to start with, and then it just helps the dog get out there farther, and moving the bumpers farther away causes them to search, but seeing that bucket, they know it's out there. But after they search, they learn the bucket is a secondary thing. The visual becomes a secondary, not the primary focus of their attention. So anyway, hope that helps. Hope it's not too scattered. I know I'm throwing a lot of thoughts out there, and this is getting long. So holler if y'all have any questions. So this is the purpose of the bucket drills. I've got him on a big area of water now. We've been working only on the narrow end way down there. Achilles, go find it. I've got bumpers out there, but he's gonna stay close. I need him to expand his search. And if I threw one, he would go as far as he needed to get it, but we don't want him to rely on visuals, because then that teaches him to rely on visuals. It doesn't teach him to search, no matter how far the visual is. So he's staying around here, which, I mean, he's searching the cover, you know, so I mean, this is good, but what if the duck is past scent range and it's on farther out, you know, it's on the other side. So so now he's going over there. I did accidentally throw a bumper over there a couple of times just because of my awkward throwing abilities, but so he's searching over there. So he is starting to expand it. I'll give him a few minutes to see what he does. And if he searches hard and doesn't get the bumpers that are floating farther on down, they're out past that bend over there now. But if he doesn't end up finding them, I'll throw this one just so that he has a reward, so he has incentive. Okay, he's expanding his search now. That's good. But the bucket drills will eventually get him to do this, because you know, you teach them on a narrow body of water, and then you'll eventually put, you know, a couple of buckets, you know, across a far body of water like this, you know, and you teach them to search farther, to swim farther. But you can teach them casting. You know, I could teach them to go that way. We haven't started, you know, casting directionally yet. I've started casting them, but not directionally. So, he's starting to expand, that's good. But, you know, I should be able to eventually cast them out that way, there, however. Achilles, go find it. He looks, but he doesn't go. He doesn't know. So you know, the bucket drills, and there's other things you can do with pans of food or whatever. He's eager to return something, so he grabbed a stick there. So I'll probably throw this other bumper in a minute when he's not looking, just so that he finds it easily, just so there's a reward for his search. But you know, these bucket drills serve a lot of purposes. So you can do this, you know, get them to search out farther, get them to search out wider, get them to go across wider bodies of water gradually. And then you can teach them casting as well, you know, eventually. So I'm going to, he's back there behind the tank searching now. I'm just gonna throw this bumper out here. Good boy. Go find it. Oh, no, here he is. Go find it, Gillies. Good boy. Good boy. All right, I'm gonna call it quits. He's been searching. He hadn't gone out far, but he has searched thoroughly for a dog that hasn't really been trained to go across a wide body of water. He normally covers water pretty well, but a really wide body like this is not something that I've worked with him on a lot. But normally he will cover water pretty well. So I'm just gonna throw this just as a reward, just to end it. Good boy. And one guy taught me to say, happy bumper. Achilles, happy bumper, happy bumper, happy bumper. And then it's all fun. He doesn't have to retrieve it to hand. If he does, I'll reward him. I'm not gonna make him. It's a happy bumper. It's just a fun throw. You know, so you can incorporate fun and take some of the pressure off your training session. What a good boy, Gillies. What a good boy. He is gonna retrieve it to hand, so I'll reward him. You know, eventually these bucket drills, which again, I just started with them today. So I will start, you know, doing a search farther out in the field, and then I'll take it, you know, to the end, way over there in that channel, work at narrow areas, start working wider towards that willow on that point, and then gradually across here. And in theory, he should be able to search a wide body. Good boy, Achilles, good boy. So yeah, he's still searching. He just, see, he's all about it. But he hasn't learned that there's reason to go all the way across, because I can only throw bumpers about a third of this distance just because this is so wide. And I'm also not athletic. So there are disadvantages to getting them used to having bumpers thrown. The visual, and plus you're limited on what you can throw. So, you know, another reason the buckets are helpful. So hope that helps. And again, y'all holler if you have any questions. So just a couple more thoughts. I've got my hat hair going, but a couple more thoughts after making the video. Some things that I didn't mention were you can use multiple bumpers out there, even with one bucket. You know, it gets the dog out there searching a little bit more. And the other thing is, you know, some little things like, you know, maybe they're chewing the bumper, or the dog is, you know, maybe they're dropping it halfway back, or they're dropping it at your feet, or I don't know, maybe they're, you know, playing with it a little bit, or whatever. You know, little things like that, biting too hard, not getting a firm grip on it, just all those things, that stuff can be cleaned up easily. So when you're doing these drills, you know, you don't want to overload the dog. You want them to learn a task. You don't want them to be bombarded with 1,000 different instructions. So, you know, every time you train, you're gonna see things that maybe you thought the dog knew, or realize things that maybe you want to teach them that you know hadn't thought about. And so doing different drills, whether it's bucket drills or, you know, casting drills, or just whatever the case may be, you can always go back and clean some of that stuff up and overlay some instructions with other instructions. You know, so don't worry about little things. Praise up the things that they're learning. I'm I'm walking Blair and she just saw a jackrabbit. Hang on, girl. Blair. Praise up the dog for what they're learning and what they're doing good on. You can always clean up that other stuff later. Take them back to the fetch table or, you know, on another day. Just focus on what they're trying to learn and what they're doing good on. Make it a positive experience for them.